Hello, everybody. Here's a little movie review from me to you. Come to think of it, I wonder how many Beatles song titles I can work into this review while I'm speaking. I'm going to say I can do 20. One down. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Thumb Together. My name is Andrew Fantasia, and today we're going to be talking about Yesterday together. If you love me, then hey, love me do, baby. Click that like button and make sure you give some love to that subscribe button as well. It would really, really help. So not today, but yesterday, I went and I saw the movie Yesterday. And guys, it is an absolute delight. From start to finish, it is an absolute delight. I'm a sucker for movies with really, really neat original concepts behind it. And Yesterday's concept is just so simple and so fantastic. This guy in the poster, Jack wakes up one morning and he is the only person in the world who remembers the Beatles. That's it. That's your movie. Isn't that fantastic? Seriously, round of applause just for that concept alone. Now, Jack is a struggling musician, emphasis on the word struggling. He is getting gigs, but they are not great gigs. His good friend and manager, Ellie, is trying her darndest to get him these gigs, but it's just not really working out. It doesn't look like his dream to become a musician is going to be a reality. The opening of the film sort of shows you just a day in the life of Jack and the struggle he has to go to and how Ellie's kind of always there for him. It is very clear to the audience right off the bat that Ellie has some strong feelings for Jack, but Jack is pretty oblivious, and, it just leaves us, the audience, screaming, "Dude, she loves you." Plus, she looks just like Lily James, so, boy, get on that before I do. Jack left his position teaching school to take on a part-time crappy job at like a Costco and try to balance that with his music career, and basically he comes home every day after a hard day's night with nothing to show for it. Until one fateful night where there's a worldwide blackout thanks to a solar flare, and after the blackout, Jack wakes up and nobody else knows who the Beatles are. Jack is dropping Beatles lyrics, he's making references, and his friends are like, what's who? And it gets very confusing and hilarious, and before we know it, Jack realizes he has woken up in a strange new world. But what's interesting about this movie that kind of sets it apart and makes it unique is, unlike other films where the main character wakes up in a different place or a strange parallel Earth or whatever, he doesn't spend the entire movie trying to get back to where he once belonged. After some initial bouts of panic when he thinks people are joking at first, and then he's like, wait a minute, this is for real, he doesn't freak out and, try to escape. He's just like, you know what? I feel fine. I'm gonna roll with this. And he comes up with the $1 million idea. Hell, probably the $1 billion idea. As a musician, as a man who can sing and play guitar, could Jack theoretically pass off the Beatles' work as his own and become a superstar? And isn't that exactly what happens in Yesterday? With a little help by a really funny cameo by Ed Sheeran, Jack starts to skyrocket in the music industry. But we've all seen Bohemian Rhapsody, we've all seen Straight Outta Compton, we've all seen Rocket Man, we've all seen every music biopic ever made. We all know, inevitably, when you become a very popular, rich and famous musician, something always goes wrong. Ed Sheeran initially gives Jack his leg up, his ticket to ride into the world of music, but after a long and winding road of a, kind of fluctuating career, he finally hits the big leagues and everything changes for him. Because guess what? The moment he's about to leave England, that's when Ellie finally drops the ball and says, hey, you know what? I've had feelings for you and you never really reciprocated them. I don't understand, but, we can work it out, right? Jack is stunned. He did not see this coming at all, and he just splits for LA because he has no idea what else to do. It's just a very quick, awkward hello, goodbye. That's it. A few tiny little twists pop up here and there in the story, and I'm not going to spoil those because they're a lot of fun. But essentially, you get the gist of where this is going. Jack learns, like all musicians do, that money can't buy you love, and he is leading, in fact, a very lonely existence as the guy who supposedly writes all of these outstanding songs. Jack feels increasingly bad for essentially plagiarizing the Beatles' music, even though nobody knows he's doing so. And it starts to eat away at him. So he gets to this great point where he's just like, I'm just gonna let it be. I've had enough. And we get that beautiful moment where he realizes that everything he had at the beginning of the film, when he was poor and not playing gigs that anybody listened to, and it was just him and Ellie sitting in the car together, having fun adventures on the way to really crappy gigs that nobody likes, those were the happiest moments of his life. You don't need the fame, you don't need the riches, all you need is love. So he takes off, he quits being Jack Malik, the guy who writes the greatest songs in the world. He and Ellie come together again, and he's like, you know what, baby, I'm sorry that I was all confusing and I ran away when you said you had feelings for me. I want to hold your hand. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's be together. Now, I know, yeah, it sounds like I'd spoiled the whole movie for you there. And maybe I did, but to be honest, the movie has so many little delightful surprises that I don't think I spoiled anything. Everything I told you is stuff that I pretty much assumed going into it, just knowing what it was about and seeing that trailer. Everything I told you is the basic, bare bones, what you can expect. It's like if you're going into a superhero movie and I tell you the superhero puts on a costume, has some trials and tribulations, and then fights a villain and achieves victory by the end of the film. I didn't really spoil anything for you. You kind of figure that going in. What I told you is just sort of the stuff everybody knows about movies like this, but there's so much more. There's so much more holding it together. I just told you about the bricks, but the mortar in between, baby, there is some great stuff in that mortar, and I can't wait for you to discover that on your own, because like I said at the beginning of this review, Yesterday is an absolute delight, and you need to watch it. So anyway, that is Yesterday. My name is Andrew Fantasia. Thank you so much for watching Thumb Together today, and crap. I could only get to 19 songs. That's a bummer. I really thought I could do 20. Oh well, I guess if you liked this video at least, do me a favor, hop on Amazon.com and pick up my book, Side Scroller, because aside from being a movie reviewer, I'm also a paperback writer. 20, 20, 20, 20!